The gavel slammed down with a final echoing crack that sounded like a bone breaking. Sold. To the gentleman in the front row for $50,000. A few pitying claps scattered through the nearly empty auction house. The gentleman in the front row, me, didn't move a muscle. I just stared straight ahead at the shell of my former life being sold off for scrap. The desks, the computers, the patents, the very name of the company we'd built from nothing, Synergy Dynamics. All of it, mine now, for less than the price of a luxury sedan. The auctioneer leaned over. "A bargain, sir. A real shame what happened to them." I finally turned my head, a cold, thin smile on my face that didn't reach my eyes. It's exactly what they deserved. "Hi, I'm Marcus. 5 years ago, I was on top of the world. My best friend, Julian, and I were the golden boys of the tech scene. We started Synergy Dynamics in my garage, fueled by cheap pizza and a big dream. I was the ideas guy, the coder, the architect of our flagship project, Nexus, a project management software that was years ahead of its time. Julian was the charmer, the salesman, the face who could secure funding with a handshake and a smile. We were brothers. I was the best man at his wedding. He was the first person I called when I got the diagnosis. Stage 3, Hodgkin's lymphoma. The world dropped out from under me. Julian was at my side in an instant. "Don't you worry about a thing, brother," he said, gripping my shoulder, his eyes full of what I thought was genuine concern. "You focus on getting better. I'll hold down the fort. It's all under control." I signed a temporary power of attorney, giving him the authority to make decisions while I underwent brutal rounds of chemotherapy. It was supposed to be a formality, a gesture of trust between brothers. The first sign something was wrong was when my access to the company servers was revoked. "Security protocol," Julian's assistant told me over the phone when I was too weak to sit up. "Just while you're out." Then, my emails to the board went unanswered. My calls to Julian went straight to voicemail. I was fighting for my life in a sterile hospital room while he was staging a coup in our corner office. The day I got the all clear from my doctors, frail, bald, but alive, I went straight to the office, eager to get back to my life. I was met by a new security guard who didn't recognize me. Julian had to be summoned. He didn't hug me. He didn't ask how I was. He stood in the doorway, blocking my entrance, his arms crossed. He looked bigger, more powerful. He'd filled the space I left behind. "Marcus, you look well," he said, his voice devoid of its usual warmth. "I'm back," I said, trying to sound stronger than I felt. He sighed as if I were a difficult child. "Marcus, look. The board and we've been talking. While you were gone, we had to make some tough decisions. The company needs strong, consistent leadership. We just don't think you're up for it anymore." He handed me a document. It was a severance agreement. "A pittance. A payoff. You're firing me?" I whispered, the words not making sense. "From my own company." "It's not firing. It's a medical retirement," he said smoothly. "The contract you signed gave me the authority to act in the company's best interest. And frankly, Marcus, your illness has become a liability. Investors are skittish. They need to know the man at the helm is strong." He'd used my own vulnerability, my trust, against me. He'd used a loophole in a document I signed so I wouldn't have to worry about work while I fought cancer. He'd taken everything. My company, my life's work, my friend. I stood there on the sidewalk outside the building I'd designed, watching my employees, walk past me without a second glance. Julian had already told them his version of the story, that I was too sick, too weak, that I'd stepped down. The rage that filled me was colder and more focused than any chemo drug. It was a pure, clean fuel. I didn't want to destroy him. I wanted to annihilate him. I took my severance pay, the insulting check he'd given me, and I used it as seed money. I rented a small empty office space. It had one perfect feature, a large window that looked directly into Julian's corner office across the street. I called my new company Ethelstan. Old English for noble stone, something solid, unbreakable. I started reaching out to the old team, The brilliant engineers Julian had sidelined. The loyal project managers he'd belittled. One by one, they left. They'd seen his true colors after I was gone. He'd become a tyrant, taking all the credit, pinching every penny, mistreating everyone. They came to me, and I hired them all. We didn't just make a competitor to Nexus. We built Nexus 2.0. It was everything our original vision was meant to be, without Julian's short-sighted cost-cutting. It was faster, smarter, more intuitive, and we offered it at half the price. We launched directly opposite his building. A massive banner on our roof read, "Athelstan, the stronger solution." I'll never forget the day Julian looked out his window and saw it. I was watching through my binoculars. His face went from confusion to disbelief to pure, unadulterated panic. He scrambled for his phone. My phone rang seconds later. "Marcus, what is this? What are you doing?" He screamed. "Competing, Julian," I said calmly. "It's called business. I thought you were a master of it." He sputtered, threatened, begged. I just hung up. The downfall was swift. His clients, angry about his declining service and our superior product, jumped ship. His investors pulled out. His employees, the few who were left, started sending me their resumes. Within 18 months, Synergy Dynamics was bankrupt, hollowed out, a corpse. Which brings us back to the auction house. After I bought the remnants of my old company for a laughable sum, I walked across the street to the now empty office. Julian was there, packing a single box with his personal items. He looked hollow, defeated. He saw me, and his eyes burned with a mixture of hatred and desperation. "You," he spat. "You did this. You ruined me." "I didn't ruin you, Julian," I said, my voice echoing in the empty space. "I just stopped you from ruining anything else. You did this to yourself the day you decided to kick a man when he was down." He sank into his expensive chair, a chair I'd now owned. "Marcus, please. I have nothing. My wife left me. I'm drowning in debt. You won. Isn't that enough?" I looked around the office. I could almost see the ghosts of our late-night coding sessions, our big dreams. I felt nothing for him. "No," I said. "It wasn't enough until now." I turned to leave. "What will you do with it all?" He called out, his voice breaking. "Just scrap it?" I stopped at the door and looked back. "No, I'm turning this entire operation, the name, the assets, everything, into the Clara Reed Foundation." He stared blankly. "Who?" "My mother," I said. "She died of cancer when I was 15. This foundation will provide financial support and dedicated tech for other people fighting the disease, so they don't have to worry about the Julian Pierces of the world while they fight for their lives." The irony was perfect. He had used my cancer to try and destroy me. I would use the corpse of his empire to help others survive it. The look on his face, the utter, complete devastation, was the final dose of medicine I needed. I was finally, truly, healed. I walked out, leaving him alone in the darkening office of his failures. I didn't look back, so I have to ask, if your own brother-in-arms used your darkest hour to steal your life's work, would you walk away? Or would you build something new from the ashes of his greed? Something strong enough to cast a shadow over everything he ever was. To cast a shadow over everything he ever was.